intense, burning indifference.
Greetings, fellow mortals. Just a reminder saying it's just my opinion is for cowards. I mean, of course everything I say is absolute fact. Recently, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League came out with a gigantic reaction from people filled with indignation and obsession. In all honesty, I cannot tell you about the story, other than the fact that they seem to be heavily relying on the Arkham Universe games to sell you on a game which is as far removed from that series in terms of gameplay as can be. And you actually succeed in killing the Justice League. And then they disrespect each deceased member of the Justice League, which, the Suicide Squad would actually do, so I can't get mad about them being in character, but it doesn't mean that I want to pay a bunch of money to watch it. But I will say the one thing I can be certain of is that I got a good laugh out of the character bios in the game. The people who wrote the Green Lantern and Wonder Woman ones need to be on watch lists. But even if the story was phenomenal, I wasn't going to pay $70 for a looter-shooter garbage live service game. I was a bit annoyed with all this, but that's why I just encourage people to play better games. But as the dust has settled, I've come to a realization. I am just done with superhero stuff. We're at the end of an arc here. Like with Western films and action movies, the interest has just waned, both from the creative side and from the audience side. The creativity is just done. The spark has gone out, and I'm okay with leaving the new stuff behind me. There's always the older stuff, like the old Justice League cartoon that I could go back and watch. It is 500 times better than anything that has come out in the last 5 years alone. Not to say that there aren't any comic book movies that I'm still excited for. The Batman 2 is still a thing, and I am morbidly curious about what's going to happen with Joker 2. But for the most part, the interest is dead for me. There's a reason I haven't been making videos about the more recent comic book stuff. Invincible, the Boys spinoff, Aquaman 2, all of the Marvel nonsense, the leaked Wolverine game footage. It's just not interesting to me that much anymore. I don't like it, I don't hate it, I just have a feeling of burning indifference inside my heart. Part of it is just the cycle of entertainment. Eventually, every genre, Western, action, zombie, etc., goes past their primes and enters a phase where deconstruction and parody are abound, which, we're pretty far into that now with superhero stuff. How many times have we had, it's the Justice League, but evil? It feels like an absurd number. From Injustice to Invincible, from The Boys to the newest Suicide Squad game. It all feels so played out, and there honestly isn't anything else shocking that any of them can do that will get a rise out of me. The Boys literally had Superman murder and I think the YouTube term is SA, and the Suicide Squad literally pissed on the graves of the heroes. Nice, thanks for that, by the way. I totally wanted that to happen. And yes, I know that the Justice League will probably come back for that game and any possible sequels, but that just kind of invalidates everything that happened in the first one, so boring.
This is worthless.
It's less than worthless, my boy.
At this point, I see the next big thing being sci-fi or fantasy, or the most obvious thing, video game adaptations for movies and shows. Sonic, Mario, The Last of Us, all big hits. And they were good, not mind-blowing, but I could see the situation exploding in an admittedly exciting way. There's so much that could be done with Mass Effect and Dragon Age if we could just rip them out of the control of EA and BioWare and whatever they're doing right now. They don't even have to adapt the main stories of the games. There is plenty of stuff across those universes that they could focus on. Of course, the creators would have to take it all seriously. There's a reason superheroes took off past the comic books and cartoons when the creators took it seriously. The original Spider-Man trilogy in the MCU took their concepts pretty seriously and tried to make the absolute best entertainment possible. If something isn't treated with respect, it will fall apart. Just look at Rocksteady for an example. Suicide Squad started off with worse numbers than the Avengers live service game, and that was considered a complete failure. This game took 9 years to make. They're completely dedicated to it. And if this game doesn't make money, the studio that created one of the most definitive versions of Batman could die.
Who killed Hannibal?
And no, of course, I don't want that to happen. There are ways to breathe life back into a genre. For example, the new Ultimate Spider-Man comics are super interesting with the way that they're portraying Peter as an older character that's already married and has children. I love the different direction for the character, although I still think that Mary Jane will leave him, call him the worst husband ever, and make the children hate him eventually. But hey, enjoy things while you can before they eventually get ruined. As for the Marvel shows and movies, they honestly need to take a break. And DC really needs this hard reboot. Will it be good? Maybe, I don't know. I'm kind of over the James Gunn style of writing, but I don't know if that's his fault because everyone else was trying to copy him for so long. But really, the best way to make people care about a DC universe would be to adapt storylines from the comics and the cartoons, and not just Darkseid and Apocalypse. Bring in Vandal Savage, a real Lex Luthor, and Hawkwoman. I kid you not, how the Justice League handled Hawkwoman in the cartoon was phenomenal. Just adapt that to a bigger screen. Literally copy and paste. It isn't that hard. You're adapting something already written for you. Hell, adapt the Arkham universe into a television show for God's sake. Lord knows that Rock said he doesn't want to do anything with it anymore anyway.
Oh, I forgot. You're broken. I don't want to play with you anymore.
And for the love of God, please, no more evil Justice League. I haven't been able to bring myself to watch any of Invincible Season 2, and I've completely lost interest in the boys. Not that it was my favorite to begin with, but that's just a matter of taste. If the Justice League gets mind-controlled or turned to the dark side again anytime soon, my eyes will just glaze over. No Owlman, no Superwoman, no Ultraman in the near future, please. I know we're in a time where we have all realized that our real life heroes are just people who suck, but this is fiction. We can make the heroes in our fiction better than the ones we have in reality. Because, for the most part, comic book movies are supposed to be escapism from real life. Stories about people you want to be and admire, unless we're talking about the Joker movie. But that film made the media lose their ever-loving minds, wishing terrible violence on people just because they did not like the film. No, I will never let anyone forget that fact. It seemed like everyone who covered the news was trying to wish a tragedy into existence, and it still pisses me off to this day. Because apparently that's what happens when comic book movies try to cover controversial topics and try to go beyond what they normally are. So instead of trying to show the tragedy of the Joker, let's just make all of the heroes evil again. And you're wondering why the genre is dying. I honestly don't know why this is so hard for people. Literally a bunch of cartoons, video games, and early movies did this with no problem whatsoever. Just study what happened before and learn what a hero's journey is. It's not that hard. It's writing 101. You're welcome to disagree with all this. That's fine. After all, everyone is entitled to their objectively wrong opinion.
Really makes you think.
Hey, do you like stories about an interconnected world? Then consider giving my LPCO books a try. They are all connected in some way, but you can jump in at any point, unless it's a series. Then you have to start at the beginning. But I got 3 books out right now and 3 coming next year. You will not have to wait long for content. Either way, thank you. I appreciate you. Do not despair.